Hey folks, well, I've got a lot less hair and a lot less aligners because, believe it or not, I am on number 15. I have finished the first box, which feels a pretty significant point and a good time to do an update. There's a few things I want to go over, especially as I arrive at aligner number 15, which also means I'm about a third of the way through. So, in these go. Ooh, lovely tight fit as usual. Ooh, that's pretty tight. Hey gang, welcome to another installment of my Invisalign adventure, episode 3. Sorry, it has been a while since I've given you an update. It's kind of a reason for that, and it's a good reason, and that is there hasn't been that much to talk about. It's all been going pretty well. But today is actually Christmas Eve, it's 24th of December, and I felt it was a good point to stop and reflect and talk to you guys quickly about what's been happening the past few months. Yeah, it's pretty weird because I've been living with these things now for over 4 months. It's become completely part of my life, part of my routine. It's not even something I think about that much. It's just something I do. So yeah, it's been a struggle actually, trying to think of the things that I would like to share with you. But I got quite a few points to cover. So I'm not going to talk much about any problems I've had with Invisalign. There's only 2 annoyances I've really had that I want to mention in this video. The first one being with the trays themselves. So with aligners number 10 and a few after 10, I found that the bottom aligners didn't quite sit on my back teeth, on my molars, as well as the rest. I had a bit of a shock because I put them in, and hopefully you can see what that looks like at the back. This was not really sitting on my back teeth like the others did. There was like a noticeable gap there, and it would kind of rattle on my teeth. And what happens is your tongue kind of notices that difference. I could feel the tray was loose with my tongue, and I was catching on it and stuff. I thought, oh my god, this is annoying. For the first time it was annoying. But actually the solution was very simple. All I did was very gently with my fingers, I bent that down like that, put them back in my mouth, and it was fine. Not a big deal at all. That I have had to do that with quite a few of the aligners after 10. I don't know what it is with them. They just need a bit of help sitting down on my back teeth, and it's only that point. It's only on the left side of the bottom aligner, so everything else has been okay. Alright, the other thing that's been noticeably different is my sleep. So it's pretty strange. Ever since I got these, ever since I started wearing these in my mouth, I seem to wake up really early. I have no idea why. It can be quite a nuisance sometimes. I might wake up at 5 a.m, 6, 7, completely unwillingly. I work quite late, so it's pretty bad for me to be getting up early. But ever since I've had Invisalign in my mouth, I don't know if it's some weird psychological thing going on, whether I can feel they're in my mouth, whether it's changing the way I dream or my sleep states. I don't know what it is, but pretty much every day since having these, I wake up really early. Now I don't get out of bed, I tend to try to go back to sleep, but it isn't a very pleasant routine when you have to kind of force yourself to go back to sleep. It never feels very nice. So yeah, I've not really got to the bottom of that. It's just one of those things that seems to be happening. If anyone else has experience with that, let me know. I'll be interested to learn more about that. So I guess I just want to talk very quickly about the routine that I have found myself in, the routine that I've managed to uphold since starting this whole thing. So basically it's the same every day, apart from Fridays or Thursday nights when I do a scan with the dental monitoring, and the following day I will change trays. So that's always a little bit different, but generally it's a pretty rigorous pretty samey schedule I kind of keep myself to, and I think I've done pretty well at it. So generally it will start off by waking up, getting out of bed. First thing I do is work on breakfast. Before I think about anything, I think about what am I gonna eat. So I make my breakfast. It's usually, you know, at the minute it's something like toast or porridge or pancakes with like a cereal bar or some fruit, something substantial that's going to keep me going until dinner time. There's usually a cup of tea involved. I also use this time to get some hot water from the kettle so I can soak the aligners in. So that is one of the first things I do each morning whilst I'm having my breakfast. They'll get their daily soak in the retainer bright, which I have plenty of. So I make my breakfast. I've got the bowl of hot water. Only once I've got my breakfast ready and I can sit down and eat it, that is when I go to the bathroom and take out the aligners. I whip those out, give them a quick rinse, and then I will keep them with me because in the next 5 or 10 minutes I'm going to be putting them into that hot water, or warm water should I say. Once I've taken the aligners out, I will tap my phone to tell the Chayminder app that I'm no longer wearing the aligners. So yeah, eat my breakfast, drop the aligners in the retainer bright. So I only use half a tablet each morning. That's what I was recommended, and that seems to keep them pretty clean and shiny. It's only towards the end of the week, once I've had them like 5 or 6 days, they start becoming a little bit cloudy, a little bit gunky. You get this kind of weird build up on them that I think is kind of your saliva that dries on them, and it just needs brushing off occasionally. Yeah, once I've finished my breakfast and my tea or whatever I'm drinking, get straight up, grab the aligners, rinse them out, pour the retainer bright away, and get ready for these to go straight back in. So brush my teeth, give my mouth a rinse. Even though I've soaked the aligners, I inspect them before they go back in my mouth, just in case there is something on there I need to brush off. So like I say, if it's towards the end of the week, I'm usually needing to brush them quite a bit. Now, I don't use anything to brush them. I don't even bother with toothpaste. It doesn't really seem necessary for me. Soaking them seems to do a nice job, and then just brushing them with water for like 30 seconds is enough for me for them to appear clean. Like I don't see any need for going any further than that or spending any more time on this, because it already takes up a lot of your time. So that's all I do, and it works for me. Yeah, we rinse them off, give them a scrub if we need to, and then pop them back in. Once the aligners are back in, I tap my phone again to tell my phone that the aligners are back in. That is pretty much the cycle that I will repeat 3 times a day, apart from the soaking in the retainer bright. That only happens in the morning. But apart from that, the situation is the same for lunch and my evening meal. So I'll do the exact same thing. I'll prepare the food, I'll get ready to sit down with it, and only then will I whip the aligners out, rinse them, eat my food, brush my teeth, aligners back in. And that's pretty much it, over and over and over again. You've got to get yourself into a mindset with this. It is repetitive, but it's necessary. You just do it. Don't let it bore you too much. Don't let it get on top of you. Just allow it to become part of your daily routine. And I think I've taken to it quite well. I've done okay with the aligner wearing. I've been pretty consistent in tracking my aligner wear with the Chayminder app. As a result, it tells me some pretty interesting things, in particular the average daily and weekly and monthly time that I'm wearing the aligners for, which is interesting. So at the moment my 7-day average is 20.6 hours, not quite the 22 I should be aiming for. I don't know why that is. I don't seem to be able to quite make the 22 mark. That seems apparent. The 30-day average is also 20.6 hours, and my 90-day average, or 3 months, is 20.5 hours. So that seems to be how long I managed to keep the aligners in for. That could be improved on, but to be honest, I think I do pretty well. I do think about it. I do make an effort to get them back in as soon as possible. So whether I'll improve much on that, I don't know. But saying that, my teeth have been moving. They have been tracking fine. There hasn't been any weeks where I've had to avoid switching aligners. So everything is going okay so far. All right, with that, let's talk about tooth movement. So I don't know if this is going to be noticeable for you guys at this stage, but there has been a decent change. Now, I live with my teeth every day. I look at them every day. I can't say I wake up each day and go, wow, my teeth have moved. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. However, I have been taking photos every week, putting them into the TrayMinder app. And when I look at the comparisons, from my first aligners to now, which is number 15, there is an obvious difference. Obviously, my teeth still have quite a way to move, but you can see what's happening in that the lateral incisors have started to come forward, and it's actually completely changed my bite. I can't close my teeth as much as I used to be able to when the aligners are off. There's now a considerable gap, which is obviously a result of these lateral incisors coming forward, and at some point they need to jump over my bottom teeth. I can feel that process taking place very slowly, and I can see it as well. So let me show you some photos now from the TrayMinder app. So let me show you some comparisons with aligner 1 and 15. I've got two photos here. One is with my teeth together, so you can see how much they kind of meshed at the start. They came down and over one another quite a lot, and you couldn't really see my bottom teeth much for the top teeth. Looking at the comparison, aligners 15, you can see how my teeth no longer sit so close together, and that's a result of, like I say, those lateral incisors moving forward, but also the canines, the bottom canines, they've rotated and moved in a way that's kind of meant my teeth are meeting in different places now, and they don't close as much as they used to. So that's interesting. It's good to see that there's obvious movements taking place, and I feel like I'm building up to these bigger movements that are going to have to take place to bring these teeth in front and where they need to be. So yeah, very exciting stuff. I hope you can see those differences. It's amazing to see what's actually happened in 4 months. Sticking to this routine, it is certainly paying off. Yeah. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is attachments. So in my last video, I promised another update once I had the attachments in. They went in 6 weeks into my treatment, so this is quite some time ago now, a couple of months ago. So I didn't really have that much to say about them, to be honest. I was expecting the worst. I thought when these attachments got put on my teeth that everything was going to change. And yes, it changed some things in the way of removing and reattaching the aligners. That definitely became more difficult for a few days. But then, just like when I first got my first aligners, I slowly got used to it, and the attachments didn't seem to be an issue at all after, a week or two. So again, I found myself just kind of forgetting about it and just getting on with it, which, is good, it's positive. I hope that fills you with confidence. Perhaps if you're due to get some attachments soon, it's not necessarily going to be that bad at all. So the appointment itself was incredibly quick, to be honest. I thought I was going to be in the chair for like an hour whilst they put all these tiny little things on my teeth, and that is not the case at all. All they do is they have a template which is just like the aligners but with the spaces for the attachments. They fill those spaces with a composite material that is kind of tooth coloured. It's a bit like a filling material, I suppose. So they fill the aligners with this, they stick it on your teeth, and they cure it with a light. This process takes like 10 minutes max. So I was in the chair and I had all these attachments put on. I can't remember how many now, 12, 13, and it took no more than 13 minutes. I was shocked. I've got a video of the attachments being put in. You can't see a lot in this video, but it might give you an idea of the tools involved. So on go the aligners with the composite material already inserted in there. They bring this light to that material and it does some kind of weird magic and cures it pretty quickly. You know, it's like 10 seconds and it's done, it's bonded to your teeth. In this particular clip they're doing 2 teeth at the same time, so you'll notice they've just moved to another tooth and are setting that attachment there as well. And that's it. That's 2 attachments done there in like 20 seconds. Out comes the cotton wool and then the template gets pulled out there. They didn't, really look at the attachments or ask me how they felt. It was very much put them on, get them bonded, make sure the attachments fit, off you go. So that was a little bit weird because it was only once I'd got home later that day and had to remove these things for dinner that I realised what these things actually felt like. So it is quite a rough experience to begin with because this material kind of goes everywhere, it dries, it can form kind of sharp edges on your teeth, little spikes here and there. So it's a bit of a shock when you get home and actually realise what that feels like. That said, I didn't have anything too major, nothing rubbed on my gums or anything. I didn't have any sore points or any ulcers, nothing like that happened at all, so that's good. However, my mouth felt completely different. Just like everyone said, it feels like you have food on your teeth. It's almost like having sand in my mouth to a degree because they felt really rough and there was bits of this composite material. Every now and then it would break free and I'd have to spit it out. Yeah, not great, but it wasn't too traumatic at all. So yeah, that took a bit of getting used to. It's completely psychological. It's like, what are these shapes in my mouth? It takes a little bit to get used to. But again, a few days go by, you eat with these things in, you get used to how your teeth feel and you get better at figuring out what's food and what isn't, and you start to forget about them. So, just like everything else with this treatment, it's a little bit of a shock at first, but you grow into it and eventually you forget about it. So yeah, not a bad experience getting those first attachments. However, I did lose some of those attachments very quickly. In fact, the first day I lost 2 attachments. The first time when I removed the aligners for myself, this is another thing you have to get used to. The aligners will need to come off in a very certain way, unique to your teeth. And until you get the knack, it's very easy to pull in the wrong direction. One of the attachments pings off. It's perfectly normal. So like I say, I lost a couple the first day. I went straight back actually. They had an appointment the following day. I went back and had them put back on. A couple of weeks later, I lost another couple, 2 or 3, and I had to go back and have them put back on. I've had a pretty good run since then. I didn't lose any until the past couple of weeks. I've lost 1 or 2 and they've only just asked me to go back to get these put back on. Whenever this happens and they have to put the attachments back, they need to use the templates for the tray that you're on. Obviously some time has passed since I had my attachments fitted, so they've had to order trays 19, I think, and I'm due to go back a couple of weeks in January to have some attachments put back on with the appropriate template this time, so aligners 19. So yeah, I'm not scared about that. I look forward to getting those back on because I want this treatment to go as smooth as possible. I don't want any teeth to be lagging behind. As for the attachments themselves, now you won't see them that well with my aligners in, but they're just little bumps. The most obvious ones being on this canine. some nice small ones on the bottom. So yeah, for me it's not been any bother having those things on show. I don't really show my teeth anyway, so having these bumps on them makes no difference to me. I've been a little bit conscious of like this big one because this is one of the ones that fell off and they reattached it. But the second attempt wasn't that great. The composite material didn't fill the template properly, I don't think. And I've ended up with like holes in both of the attachments. I've actually had to pick food out of these attachments sometimes because there's like crevices in them that shouldn't be there. So when I go back in January, I might say, is there any chance you can get rid of this and put a proper one on and replace it, because I don't like it. We'll see what they say. Okay, so when I got the attachments, obviously this changed a lot of things in terms of how my aligners fitted. I was used to, at that point, 6 weeks in, these aligners just going straight in and out, no problems. I was like, wow, this is easy. What's everybody so upset about? And then I had a bit of a shock because suddenly these things get locked to your teeth and you have to be so careful about how you remove them. So I invested straight away in one of these tools. Now there's a lot of these around online. There's Altitools. This is a PULTool. There's a few other makes and models. I got this because it was the cheapest. Now, I don't see any point in spending £10-20 on this little bit of plastic. This was one of the cheapest ones. It's probably like £5 or £6. And it does exactly what I need it to. It's just a little plastic hook that I can get in and pull the aligners off in the most awkward spots. Now I can get the aligners off with my fingers if I really needed to, but I think I'd end up destroying my nails, and if I did it too often I'd start to struggle with my own nails. So just to save my nails, I use one of these. So yeah, there's loads of these you can get on Amazon. You can get like packs of 3 or whatever. I've just got the one. I don't need lots of them. If I go anywhere, I take it with me. It also comes with like its own, I think this is a Chewy type thing. It's like a bit of silicone on there. You can chew on it if you want. It's a bit hard, but I don't bother because I got some other ones. So yeah, very useful tool. Get this before you get your attachments. There's a knack to using these. It's not just a case of going in and pulling. Eventually you'll work out very specific places on your aligners that are appropriate to pull with these tools. There's going to be specific spots that are difficult to remove, and there's going to be a certain way of pulling it and a certain angle that you will figure out. So for me, I only use this on this corner, on this canine, and then on this premolar behind it. I just help it over the attachments just to avoid breaking them off, really. So the other thing I started using once I got the attachments was these things, Chewies. These were provided by my orthodontist. I have 2 of these, but I've actually stuck with the same one. I've been chewing this for the past 2 or 3 months because it's just a bit of silicone and it doesn't even change. Like, I think it's the same as it was on day one. So each time now I put the aligners in, I spend like a minute max, a minute or 2, just chewing on this. This seems to get less necessary the longer you've had the aligners in. Certainly for the first 2 or 3 days of a new aligner, you can feel the effect of these. You can feel it seating those aligners really tight on your teeth. By day 5 or 6, you don't really notice it. It doesn't feel like it's achieving that much. So I tend to spend a bit less time chewing on these things. I don't put it in my mouth, kind of chew it like a sweet, because it just feels weird and I can't really control where it goes in my mouth. So I just hold it with my fingers and just go round left to right a few times. Very easy. Another one of those things you get very used to quickly. that Chewie lives in my Invisalign case, so if I ever go anywhere, I've got both the PULTool and the Chewie in my case there. That's pretty much all I carry around, unless I think I'm going to be removing the aligners and eating and drinking and that I might need to brush my teeth. I'll take the toothbrush out, but other than that, I will just keep these with me. Nice and simple, fits in my pocket. Sometimes you've got to eat on the move, which means taking the aligners out, perhaps in a car or in my van. I always keep water with me so I can rinse the aligners out. Easy peasy. Invisalign, really not that difficult. To be honest, this year I haven't really been anywhere to eat or drink with all the lockdowns. I'm in Nottingham, which is tier 3. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. So it's been a pretty easy ride with Invisalign, to be honest. Had COVID-19 not been a thing, I might have had a different attitude towards this and, you know, the things I take outside with me. But this has been all I need, to be honest, for 2020. Okay, just wanted to quickly talk about the dental monitoring as well. Now, I started using this pretty much at the start of my treatment, but it was only like every couple of weeks. It was only once I got my attachments that my change day for the aligners completely changed, and it was a bit of a weird experience. So I got the attachments, and the feedback I started getting through the dental monitoring completely changed. I started my treatment on the understanding that I would change my trays every 2 weeks. I thought that was going to be the case no matter what, and if that was to change, I was expecting at least a discussion with the orthodontist or a phone call or something like that. But that didn't happen. It all came through this dental monitoring app, which was a weird experience. I get the attachments, I'm carrying on with the scans and sending them in, and all of a sudden they tell me I can change my trays. But the first time that happened, the trays I had in at the time had only been in for 5 days. Because there was a couple of days delay previously in getting a response from the orthodontist, I'd only had the aligners in for 5 days and they were telling me to change them. So I thought, well, this is weird, because I thought it was 2 weeks. And that was just kind of an unfortunate timing thing with kind of when I started the dental monitoring, and there was a couple of days delay in a reply from them about something. I can't remember what. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. And I was like, am I actually meant to be doing what this app says? Should I change the aligners? And they was like, yeah, it's fine. Do what the app says from now on and it'll be okay. And that felt a little bit weird, but I did as they told me and changed the trays. But at that point, I was then in sync with the app, and as long as I only changed my trays when the app told me, it would be at the appropriate time. What I also didn't realise was that these weekly changes were actually going to become the norm. So from that day onwards, pretty much from, you know, getting the attachments, I've been told to change my trays every week, which is great because it means the teeth are moving in the way that they should. They can see that in the images that I send them. They tell me to crack on. So my scan day is actually a Friday. What I tend to do though is I try to have my tea quite late at night on a Thursday, and I get the scans done at midnight on a Thursday. And what that means is I usually wake up on a Friday morning to a message from my orthodontist saying, great, today you can change. And that's kind of what I like to stick to. It means on Friday night I can change my aligners after my last meal. And that seems to be quite a nice routine. That works well for me. If I was to wait to Friday to do the scan, if the orthodontist was busy, I might not get a reply that day. And my change day, I risk getting it moved to a Saturday. So I try to get that scan done as early as possible. Sometimes I've done it in the morning, but if I'm up the night before, I will do it at midnight. Yeah, that just works for me. What else? There's not much else to tell you. I did have to stock up on some supplies, and this is a bit of a funny one really, because I'm one of those people that go to the internet for pretty much everything. I'm convinced that there's always things cheaper online, but I've been caught out this time because I got a lot of retainer bright from eBay. I think this was worth it. It was about £11 for 72 tablets. 72 tablets, if I use half a day, they will last me 144 days. That's like 4 or 5 months worth that I've got here for £11. So I think that was pretty decent. I did run out of the FluoRegard rinse, and I thought I'd go to eBay for that as well. I spent about £7 on a bottle of this from eBay because I didn't really know where else to get it apart from my orthodontist. Little did I realise, in Asda they sell this on the shelf for like £4.50. I saw that yesterday. I was like, oh, well, that was stupid. I bought this online and it's in Asda for £4.50. So, yeah, I learnt my lesson there. Things aren't necessarily cheaper on eBay. That's quite hard to believe, but there we go. So, I think that's it for episode 3. I'm going to go and enjoy Christmas with some of my family. Not a lot due to the pandemic. 2020, what a bizarre year. We haven't been able to do that much with our time. It's not been a bad year for starting Invisalign. I would say that much. I've spent a lot of time at home, not a lot of time socialising. So I think for that reason I've had a pretty easy ride with Invisalign. But yeah, I look forward to what next year brings. Hopefully this pandemic gets under control and we can start to see people and spend time with our friends and eat and drink and be merry. I'd love to go to a party, I'd love to go to a nightclub, I'd love to go to a bar, but I don't know when that's going to happen. But it has been a decent year for self-improvement, and I'm really chuffed that I've started this when I did. I'm a third of the way through my initial treatment, and that's hard to believe. Time has gone quickly, which is surprising because I spent it all at home. So 2021, bring it on, is going to be a big year for a number of reasons. My Invisalign treatment is one of them, but I can't be certain when that will be finished. So I've run out of things to say. I'm going to sign off, and by the time you see this video, it will probably be the new year. But I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and a new year with perhaps a few people that you love and that you'd like to spend time with. We could all do with a bit of love this year. We could all do with some people around us. I know I could. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm sure I'll be back soon with another Invisalign update. Until then, take care everybody, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.